It's going.
Yeah. It's going?
Yeah, on YouTube.
On YouTube?
No, that one's fine. This is the one that's streaming.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay, that's okay. Awesome.
Oh, I didn't even see that content, another.
So is this streaming on here then, or on that one?
No, it's streaming on this. Well, it's showing any of them.
Yeah.
It's showing whoever is like,
Which YouTube?
Right, we'll try to get that on here.
At least the one tire I pulled off was a video.
Hello, probably there's a review watching live because we have to go to this dance, but we're getting set up.
It'd be hilarious if they're watching. They're like, hi.
All right, a couple points to make sure that you're doing. The microphone is up there on the wall over there. It's very difficult to hear if you're talking quietly, especially with these masks on. So the key is to project as loudly as possible. And even though it might sound awkward in a normal in-person setting, to be able to work with this, it's the talk as loud as you can and try and talk towards the microphone over there, especially the further back you are. Yeah. Get this close out.
you mean, okay, I call this meeting to order at 1:14 PM. Secretary Reed, can you please call the roll?
Nathan Scott,
Here.
Mariana Reed,
Here.
Louis Armstrong,
Here.
Connor Peters,
Here.
Rashard Golden,
Here.
Sean Peters,
Here.
Connor,
Forget more.
okay, Connor Music, Tate McCoy.
Here.
All right, on to the next room. We have Caleb Lombardino, Darby Hay, Ellie Trimmer, Eli Trimmer, I do that every time.
Here.
Maria Mills. Here. Nick Schultz,
Here.
Jack Trimmer,
Here.
Trevor Mule,
Here.
Here.
Seth Nidell,
Here.
Charles Anderson,
Here.
Carl Thomas, Brett Shanks,
Here.
and Jonathan Dixon.
So now we'll have the adoption of the agenda. Will, no objection, will adopt the agenda. Okay, the agenda is adopted. Now we'll move on to reports with Student Governor Hannah Fair.
Hello, everyone. I have to get loud. The Board of Governors met last night. We had a meeting in Fullerton Center talking about the beginning of the school year and all the preparations specifically regarding COVID-19 and health and safety of students and faculty. The board expressed and wanted me to express that they are excited and energized by having students on campus. Even though they can't see all of our faces, it's nice to have people around because students are why they do what they do. And yeah, that happened. Other than that, I reported to the board some of the things that SJ has planned for the semester and just emphasize that we are catering to students' needs given that this is a unique semester for everyone. So if anybody has any questions, that is what happens.
Are there any questions for Governor Berry? Okay. Oh, could you go back to the agenda real quick?
Yes.
You're good. Okay, we're moving on to Sean Peters, Director of Finance.
The only thing I have to report is that we are finalizing the FOC revisions, so those should be done pretty soon for Senate to look at and review.
Any questions for Director Peters? Seeing none, we'll move on to Connor Peters, Director of Public Relations and Marketing.
All right, so the Ultimate Griffin Starter Pack giveaway that we're doing on Glean.io officially, as of noon today, had 435 entries. This week I completed tabling for Western Welcome Week. On Monday and Thursday of this week, I set up a table and got students interested in joining SGA or looking into what SGA does. I am drafting a mass email to be sent from Nathan to the student body, welcoming them to campus and congratulating them again through the first week of school. I'm also drafting another email to serve as a recruiting tool for our committees and for Senate. And then later today, we have access to the university Snapchat, and we'll be putting out a message in support of the Griffin Pledge. That is all I have to report.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Director Peters? Seeing none, we'll move on to Luke Armstrong, Director of Grid Feedback.
Hello, everyone. So this last week, I've been emailing a lot of the RSOs, trying to get communication flowing about volunteerism and everything, and asking them to report their volunteer hours every month so that we have a running track of what they're volunteering in and all that. And so if you are part of other RSOs and all that, please make sure that they are responding to that and doing all that. I'm still looking for committee members for my committee, so if you're interested in that, email me, please. And very soon we will be having a drive for school supplies. That will be a week-long thing. I'll have more information next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Director Armstrong?
I have a comment from him. I know Emily at Baker said that you could put up posters and stuff promoting your drives and food drives, and then that way it might be able to bring in more.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions? Seeing none, Connor Busick is absent, so we will move on to Jashira Bolden, Director of Student Involvement.
Hello, everybody. First and foremost, last Sunday we had the summer graduation event, and I just want to thank you guys so much for coming out, helping, blowing up a balloon, whatever you did, it really helped. Speaking of that, I do need committee members. So if you love blowing up the balloons and engaging with students, join my committee, it'll be a blast. Wednesday, we had our PLC meeting. It went really well. Next month will be the first mandatory PLC meeting. So if you have anything that you wanted to say to the RSOs, please don't hesitate to let me know so I can put you on the agenda. So that's all for me today.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Director Bolden? Seeing none, we'll move on to my report. Hello, everyone. Thank you for either being here in person or on Zoom. As we know from last meeting, this technology stuff will get a bit more getting used to. But other than that, I think we're going pretty smoothly and pretty nicely as we progress throughout the semester. If there's anything that you all need from me, feel free to reach out and just let me know what I can do to help throughout the semester. So that's all that I have for my report. Are there any questions? Okay, we'll move on to the president's report.
Can we pull up the slideshow for under that I shared with you? Or PowerPoint? In the meantime, hello everyone. I am excited to have you all here, either through Zoom or in person for our first Senate meeting of the academic year when we're actually in session. And I have a report for us here. We're gonna pull it up here. All right, so this is going to be my first report. So first off, I want to thank all of our amazing executive board for their dedication and countless hours of volunteer time over the summer. You might have seen some things happen on social media and stuff, but the amount of work that's gone into this summer kind of time frame of trying to get prepared for the school year, countless hours of meetings, trying to work schedules together. We actually been having our e-board meetings over the summer at 9:30 p.m. and they've been lasting until about 11 to 11:30. So think about the entire day's worth of work for all these individuals, and then staying that late so they can work to try and work together and try and make a great year for us all. So I just want to thank everyone on my executive board for their awesome dedication, and hope you all very much. So what did we do over the summer? So we did a few things. We trained our team, we trained our team and we prepared for the upcoming year. We analyzed and identified potential areas for improvement within student government and through stuff. And we also started working on strategic and innovative ideas for improving student life. So we can go to the next slide. Training the e-board and preparing for the year. So when training the e-board and preparing for the year, next slide, please. Our e-board held its executive planning and training retreat over the summer. And some of the training activities that we worked on were we had a seminar over university finance policy, so we know how we can best execute different projects that were going on and making sure that we understand the financial policies in place. We had one-on-one meetings with our university counterparts. So for instance, the Director of Public Relations met with the Director of Marketing Communications for Missouri Western to kind of have that collaborative time to discuss, understand, kind of learn, apply learning in that. We had training on workflow and collaboration. So we had some time when we worked together to kind of find areas where if we have situations come up, who takes charge of that and who else can collaborate and make sure that we can all work together as a team. We also had a working lunch with the university president where we discussed several issues facing Missouri Western, and then we had a community service project that Luke helped us organize, and that was very productive and great. So yeah, that's where moving something here. Awesome. Thank you, Hannah. And then so we were able to help organize the campus cover, and that was a great community service event that we did. So moving on to the next slide here. Student Success Act reallocation. So every 3 years, SGA and University Administration meet to review and adjust allocations for the Student Support Services fee. While the allocations are quite detailed, you have a lot of different departments that get some money from this. The synopsis of those changes are about a 5% increase to Student Health Center to help it better prepare for this coming year and future years to provide health services for our students. There was several shifted allocations, but they still serve the same purpose. So for instance, we funded some certain things through student employment that are now, those programs are now shifted over to Career Development Center. And so that some of those things, they're serving the same program, but they're on technically a different department. So some funding was shifted there. And besides that, there was just some minor increases and decreases to make sure that we could get that 5% for the Student Health Center. And so that's what you can probably, if you want to inquire more about that, we can get you details at a later time with a much more detailed list. So moving on to the next slide. Fee changes. In an effort to create a more simplified fee structure, the University Administration, in consultation with SGA, converted all flat fees to per credit hour fees. So if you haven't noticed on your tuition bill this year, the SGA fee has converted from a 30 part-time, 50 full-time flat fee to a $3.75 per credit hour fee. And the SSA fee has been converted from a $50 part-time, $75 full-time flat fee to $6 per credit hour. One note on that is these adjustments are generally equivalent in terms of revenue generation. So a $3.75 per credit hour fee is going to make about the same as what the previous system has. It's just simply a way to make it to where you can say, I'm going to be doing 14 credit hours, so I can just multiply the number immediately and see, all right, this is how much I'm going to pay, instead of you having some things by the credit hour and some things by flat, and then it gets all confusing and mixed up. So moving on to the next slide. The SGA budget. So the SGA budget was approved in the Senate during our last meeting on August 11th. The SGA fee is projecting, the projections are subject to change, but the current projection is $265,250 or $525. That's a big number. A lot of back and forth took place on this budget as projections vary greatly due to COVID and tuition changes and our general standard enrollment decline. Moving on to the next slide. The important thing to note here that is because we have gotten a 30% decrease between last year's budget and this year's budget, which is an important thing to note as we just see a general enrollment decline. We see stuff that is happening with COVID, with students going more online with 50% of our 50 major increase. I think it's around 50% going into online. We're seeing a 30% decline. However, we are still going to try and subsidize the shortfall with some specific reserve accounts to make sure that we are still providing services for our students as we have normally done, and try to make a stable and normal year. Moving on to the next slide. Finding areas to improve our service. Next slide. Identifying areas of contact between SGA and students. Over the summer, our executive board worked hard to identify areas of contact between SGA units and students/RSOs. Some of those units include Financial Oversight Committee, which regularly works with student organizations to get funding. Student involvement, where we obviously always are contacting students, and even the Student Senate, which is an area where it's about student advocacy and how we can reach out to students and talk to our constituents. So, those are just some of the areas, but not all the areas. So we move on to the next slide. Analyzing friction points in these areas of contact. So our executive board then examined these units to find issues that are negatively impacting student experience when interacting with that unit. For example, the FOC has many challenges with lengthy policies and regulations and specific limits on areas of funding. These challenges confuse many students and can lead to negative user experiences. So there's a lot of different areas within FOC where you're trying to apply, you just see these giant blocks of text, and there's so many little variables. Well, can I get this and can I get that? We've been working hard to address those. So if we go on to the next slide. Internal issues facing SGA. Beyond the issues already identified, we have issues internally with low membership. As we can see right now, we only have, I believe it's 13 senators out of 20. And that's been a consistent thing over several years where we fluctuated between 10 and 17 members around. Sometimes we'll peak at 20, but it's like for a meeting and then we're back down to 15 because people graduate or something. And committees also have sparse membership. So we need to make sure that we address that. We also have a lack of public recognition. While strides have been made in recent years, A sizable number of students still have little knowledge about SGA, and some may not even know it exists. And that's something that we need to make sure that we're addressing, and something that we are addressing. But that is something to put into consideration. If we look even a few years ago, the student body president was elected with less than 30 votes. And so that's something that we need to make sure that we're addressing. In previous years, it has gotten better, but that is something to address. We also have inconsistent and incoherent laws/policies. As a result of rapidly changing student leadership, long-term strategic visions are sometimes hard to maintain, and governing documents can be repeatedly amended in a way that's poorly written and is causing inconsistent writing. So we need to make sure that we can review our policies and make sure that we can update them to be consistent, to be coherent, and to be just overall solid policies. The path towards improvement. Financial Oversight Committee. So Finance Director Sean Peters and the FOC committee members have been working tirelessly over the summer to develop a proposal, which will be a first step to opening more resources towards student organizations, to help student organizations thrive. This proposal will also simplify the funding process and design with user friendliness as one of its largest guiding factors. So we've been working a lot to figure out and analyze everything going on, every kind of detail, and seeing how can we smooth that out, how can we really polish this program to be the best it possibly can, with finding regulations that we're able to possibly tone back a little bit and find some new opportunities for student organizations. We're still in the process of creating the final draft of this proposal, but Senate should be seeing it in the near future for consideration. Student involvement. Student Involvement Director Deshira Bolden has been working nonstop to find new and innovative ways to engage with student leaders, allowing for their voices to be heard and for the facilitation of more effective communication between RSOs and SGA. In certain years, we've kind of had some struggles with that, and we want to make sure that we are finding the best ways possible. A new series of RSOs, a new series of events focused on RSOs are being developed right now, and we're hopefully going to be able to announce something soon on that, and I'm really excited for that. Public Relations. Public Relations Director Connor Peters has been spending many late nights working to develop new effective ways to connect with students. In previous years, SGA publicity has had little effect with extremely minimal engagement. Within 1 week of being on campus, we have already seen 8 times engagement on social media when compared to the entirety of last year. So that is amazing, and I want to congratulate you. We have recently prepared a subscription to the growth marketing platform Gleam.io, which enabled us to do our first ever giveaway for the year, the Ultimate Griffin Starter Pack. You can find out more about it, and to enter the giveaway, go to griff.bn/SGA giveaway. We also are working hard to improve our branding, increase recruitment, and engage in more active marketing, and working to produce regular press releases, social media posts, and video/live content. So we're very excited with that. And then this is again what the Gleam.io platform looks like. This is our SGA giveaway thing for this these first 2 weeks. So yeah, if we want to go to the next slide. So on Senate, Vice President Ariana Reed, Secretary of Senate Brianna Reed, and Parliamentarian Kate McCoy have been working hard to find ways to create more engagement in student Senate and help enable new senators to be successful in their roles. I am excited to see you all as senators take hold of your positions and become amazing advocates for students. We definitely need to have a strong student Senate, one that's really advocating and getting voices, because it's hard to, as a student, to speak up sometimes, and we need to be reaching out to these students and making sure that we can advocate for them as best as possible. I have recently signed Executive Order Fiscal Year 21-02, which creates the Presidential Task Force on Servant Compensation and Incentives, which will soon be working to advise me on ways that we can create new and creative ways to promote servant leadership through SGA and reward productive engagement in your leadership role. So we'll be trying to find new ways that we can, if it's something like SGA Senator of the Month or something like that, just new programs and new things that we can do to help incentivize and promote leadership within the SGA. So Grit's Give Back Director Luke Armstrong has been working hard to come up with creative and engaging ways to promote philanthropic service within our campus community and in the SGA. Luke has been an amazing servant leader and is working hard to find new partnerships in our community, as well as working with the new Missouri Western Center for Service. And he's been doing a great job of that. And I think we'll have some meetings soon to discuss some more stuff. So I'm excited for that. So our strategic plan for this year, creating a foundation for success. So our main points are stability, transparency, innovation, and advocacy. We want to make sure that we are making sure that this community feels a sense of normalcy again, especially in these turbulent times. We want to make sure that student morale can be boosted and that students can feel comfortable and safe in their home away from home here at Missouri Western. On transparency, again, some heavy public relations stuff to try and make sure that we can get the word out about SGA and what we're doing. We don't want to be sitting in this room and then making all the decisions and then students just never hear about what happens. We need to make sure that we're public about this stuff and that students know what SGA is doing. We'll be partnering with the Griffin News to help distribute information to the public on a more regular basis. On innovation, we're going to be trying to find new ways, like we've already been doing with FOC and with student involvement and many other areas, to find new ways to help support our campus culture. And then on advocacy, Ariana and I were elected on a platform advocacy, and we are working hard to achieve those platform goals, and we will try and do our best to advocate for students on the issues that they find very important. So, yeah. And so that's the end of my presentation, but I just want to again thank everyone for their great service over the summer. It's hasn't just been e-board members. We've also had some great work. Senator Shanks has done some amazing help with training our senators and working on some stuff with health and safety. But I just wanted to thank everyone again. So thank you all for your amazing work, and go Griffs.
Thank you. Are there any questions for President Scott? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to unfinished business. Senate Bill Fiscal Year 21-07, Health and Safety Committee. And NWSU Senate Bill to enact the creation of Health and Safety Committee, whereas the Student Government Association sees it necessary to create a body that oversees and promotes student health and general welfare. And whereas there are many valid grievances against the common infrastructure available to students throughout campus, and whereas the Student Government Association has a duty to improve student quality of life and facilities used by students. Therefore, we, the Student Government Association of Missouri Western State University, hereby enact to create the Health and Safety Committee. Therefore, let it be also enacted that a copy of this bill be sent to Nathan Scott, SGA President, and Hannah Piowski, Dean of Students, for a signature. Let's see, who's the sponsorship?
Do we know if Nick Folium is in the chat at all? This was originally their bill.
This one was.
Oh, sorry, no, I'm from all the wrong area. Never mind. Okay, anyway, while she's doing that, so yeah, we have very abysmal infrastructure around campus, and we kind of need a platform to start improving it. And yeah, it would be a much better speak by Brett, because this is his pet project.
You all know, certainly Camden. What? Yeah, it was very surprising. Speak louder. As you all know, we're in a pandemic. Also, there's a lot of safety violations. Well, I don't know if they're actually violations, but there's a lot of things that can change around here in wise of safety, like first aid kits, navies. Other than that, I haven't really figured out an official date to put the meeting on, as my classes are still kind of changing right now. But when that solves out, if anyone wants to email me, wants to join, feel free. I think John's already in. Yeah.
Do we have any questions for Senator McCoy or Senator Shank? Okay, seeing none, do we have any speeches of affirmation? Do we have any speeches of negation? Unless was there someone on Zoom? Okay. Okay, so I'll ask for a motion for previous question.
Motion approved, question.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of approving? We'll have to do a roll call vote for this one for purposes of Zoom. So Secretary Reed, can you do a roll call vote?
Yes, so roll call vote starting with Eli Sherman.
Aye.
Thank you. Maria Mills. Aye. Nick Schultz.
Aye.
Jack Trimmer.
Aye.
Trevor Newell.
Aye.
Peyton Ford.
Aye.
Seth Nidell.
Aye.
Charles Anderson.
Aye.
Clark Thomas. Oh, he's not here. Yep, I wrote that down. Brett Shanks
Aye.
and Jonathan Dixon.
Aye.
And also admitting, pulling him into the chat now, so you guys will talk.
Okay, well, the ayes have it, so that bill does indeed pass. We're to see what they can.
Oh, I can barely hear what's happening. Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes, now I can. So what am I supposed to be talking about? I'm sorry, the ADA committee or my bill?
We're about to move on to the resolution. So once we read that legislation, we'll make sure that you have time to speak on that.
Okay, thank you.
And we are live on YouTube.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, can you minimize the screen?
What?
Okay, so we'll be moving on to Senate Resolution fiscal year 21-02, Disability Accessible Programs. An MWSU Senate resolution to express great support to hold academic departments accountable for using programs in their courses that are accessible to all students, including those with disabilities. Whereas some departments use technology that is not accessible to students with disabilities. And whereas the math department uses a program called ALEX, which is not accessible to students who are visually impaired because Zoom text and screen readers do not work with this program. And whereas the math department has known about this issue for years, but continues to use this program despite it being inaccessible to those with vision impairments. And whereas the accessibility of the programs you use should be a priority when designing courses. Therefore, we, the Student Government Association of Missouri Western State University, hereby resolve to express great support to hold academic departments accountable for using programs in their courses that are accessible to all students, including those with disabilities. Therefore, let it also be resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to Nathan Scott, SGA President, and Hannah Piaski, Dean of Students, for signature. Therefore, let it be finally resolved that a copy of this resolution, finalized and signed, be presented to Faculty Senate, Doug Davenport, Provost, and Elizabeth Kennedy, University President. Can you scroll back up, please? Okay, we have a sponsorship speech from Senator McCoy.
I will relinquish my time to Nick Foley.
Okay. You now have the floor, Ms. Pulliam.
Okay, so what sparked this bill was something that happened last. So, other departments are still using programs that they know are inaccessible, like Alex, and their solutions are more inaccessibility. Their solution was to basically give the girl who needed to be able to see her program a person to sit next to her and read it to her. That is not accessibility. Accessibility is being able to do it independently. And these programs don't allow for it because they don't work with Zoom text and they don't work with JAWS. And really what I'm wanting to do is hold the departments more accountable for what they use and what programs they're implementing in their classroom. Because all students with disabilities should be able to access their classes. And that's a good example of not being able to access your class in a big way. And I mean, this girl thrived in this class after quarantine happened and she was able to do just WebWorks because WebWorks is accessible. So why are we continuing to use programs that we know aren't accessible? That's all I have to say.
Are there any questions? Okay, Senator Shanks, do you have anything you want to say?
I agree with all that Senator Boyd had to say, especially in both where we're in quarantine, but going to Zoom, you don't really have military you can help. You don't, if it's not accessible, so definitely need to find some better solution than what currently is.
Any questions for Senator Shanks? Okay, seeing none. Any speeches of affirmation? Any speeches of negation? Okay, Secretary Reed, can you please start the roll call? Oh, sorry. Can I have a motion for previous question?
Motion to previous question.
Thank you. Now, Secretary Reed, can you please start the roll call?
Yes. Roll call vote starting for Senate resolution, starting with Eli Trimmer,
Aye.
Maria Mills. Aye. Nick Schultz,
Aye.
Jack Trimmer,
Aye.
Trevor Mule,
Aye.
Hank McCoy,
Aye.
Lester McDowell,
Aye.
Charles Anderson,
Aye.
Brett Shanks,
Aye.
and Jonathan Dixon.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, the ayes have it, that does pass. Okay, moving on to new business. This will be the first reading of these bills. So starting with Senate Bill Fiscal Year 21-08, the resignation of Justin Owens. An NWSU Senate bill to confirm the resignation of Justin Owens from the position of senator in the SGA Senate, whereas Justin Owens is no longer a student in Missouri Western and has resigned from SGA. Therefore, we, the Student Government Association of Missouri Western State University, hereby enact to confirm the resignation of Justin Owens from the position of senator in the SGA Senate. Therefore, let it be finally enacted that copies of this bill shall be sent to Nathan Scott, SGA President, and Hannah Piowski, Dean of Students, for signature. Okay, and we have a sponsorship speech from President Scott.
Hello, everyone. So Justin Owens no longer is a student at Missouri Western and has resigned. Therefore, we are accepting the resignation with this legislation if it were to be passed by the Senate.
Any questions for President Scott? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the next Senate bill, which is Fiscal Year 21-09, adjustment to quorum requirements. An MWSU Senate bill to enact a new policy to adjust quorum whenever a senator is on the agenda for removal. Whereas there is sometimes a problem meeting quorum when senators are being removed but are not at the meeting. And whereas quorum is defined by half plus one, and those meetings will exclude the senators up for removal. And whereas this will make those meetings more efficient and we won't be hindered by quorum requirements. Therefore, we, the Student Government Association of Missouri Western State University, hereby enact to adjust the quorum requirements to exclude senators on the agenda for removal. Therefore, let it be also enacted that a copy of this bill be sent to Nathan Scott, SGA President, and Hannah Piowski, Dean of Students, for signature. Okay, we will have a sponsorship speech from Senator McClellan.
I relinquish my time to President Scott.
Oh, hi. So yeah, this is something that is definitely a concern, and we may look to, before we pass this, we might look to have an adjustment just to make sure that this is a little bit more defined in terms of having it be specifically for like resignations or for not meeting certain qualifications that would make them just no longer be able to be a senator by default. The reason why we want to do this is because there have been times, or concerns at least in the past, that if you have enough of the Senate resigning at the same time, it could lead to not being able to ever meet quorum, which would result in some catastrophic things for student representation. So this is just trying to find ways to kind of maximize our ability to meet quorum and be able to effectively represent students.
Are there any questions for President Scott? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to open discussion. Does anyone have a point for open discussion to bring up? Senator Mills.
So I do not live on campus, but many students have told me that last night they witnessed a big gathering of people at the Commons. Many were not wearing masks. They did say that they saw police show up, but when they left, many still stayed around. One of these students actually filmed what was going on to kind of, get some evidence, and there were pictures as well. But one of the students, I would assume a student that was partying there, approached this person and threatened them and like why they were recorded. And they said they actually saw this person begin to take off their rings and wanted to fight them. And so and this was on account from many different witnesses. So I just wanted to, especially you, Hannah.
Yeah, that second part hasn't been reported yet to me after the police, so maybe you and I get together and need to write up an incident report.
Okay, yeah, and a lot of these people I have to get, I don't know if they would give you like the video or any photos. I do have 2 photos, but
Sure, and if it helps, I was there last night responding to the incident along with 2 police officers, 4 RAs, and 3 other staff members.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're taking care of it. It is a clear violation of the physical distancing COVID policies. Should not happen and should not be permitted, and we're going through the code of conduct for it right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So please, no one do that ever again until COVID's gone. But let's definitely touch base and talk through. Okay.
So, I motion to previous question on FY 2108 under unanimous consent. It just unanimous consent.
Okay. So is there any objection to the unanimous consent for, which one did you say, Senate Bill 21-08?
Yep.
Is there any objection? Okay, seeing none. Okay, so Senator Secretary Reed, can you do a roll call vote for Senate Bill 21-08?
Roll call starting. Eli Trimmer,
Aye.
Maria Mills,
Aye.
Nick Schultz,
Aye.
Ned Trimmer,
Aye.
Trevor Mule,
Aye.
Kate McCoy,
Aye.
Seth Nidell,
Aye.
Charles Anderson,
Aye.
Brett Shank,
Aye.
and Jonathan Bishop.
Aye.
That does indeed pass. Thank you.
We're really talking about this? Oh, well, they retired.
They're on some different schools. So are there any other points for open discussion, whether in person or in Zoom? You can write it in the chat if you would like. Yes.
Okay, so I got a couple things to bring up, I guess. I was talking to students and they said that the book prices were like outrageous. I agree with them. But they didn't know if there was any way that we could, help them out or fund a little bit, because a lot of them are like, they're like from foreign countries coming here. And so it's the price is different, and we don't use most of the books anyway. So it's like, why buy a book for $60 that you're not gonna use? Also, like, I guess piggybacking off the party, or whatever you wanna call it, maybe like we can find out stuff to do on Fridays as like the event committee, and like have planned parties so that stuff doesn't happen. And then people will be more involved with SGA, and then we'll get to kind of control the situations. That's all I got.
Do you have any questions or comments for Senator Anderson?
So I would say first off, that's a wonderful recommendation on that second point. I think that's a great thing to consider. On the first point, that is one of the things, when I talked about advocacy earlier in my presidential report, that's one of the biggest things that I had on my platform for running was advocating for and fighting for lower textbook and access code costs. And that's something that we're collaborating with the provost office on, and we're trying to find ways that we can find more affordable solutions. I think they've already started the pilot of a program. I'm trying to remember what it's specifically called. Do you remember? It's I've already had a couple classes that's used this program. It's through the Barnes and Noble bookstore. It's where they will actually put it in your tuition, and it will be at a cheaper cost. So, like for instance, $140 access code. I think I spent $70 on through my tuition, so it like cuts down that cost. And I think that is an exciting opportunity that they're working on right now. But there's definitely some stuff that we are collaborating with.
Any other questions or comments for either Senator Anderson or President Scott? Are there any other points of discussion? Seeing none, we'll move on to announcements. If there's anything you would like to announce. Here's the time.
Yeah, I actually have one thing, if possible. If I have a minute. So as the chair of capital projects, I'm obviously going to need a committee. I'm going to need people kind of helping me address different problems here on campus and ways that we could improve the campus, whether it's just, a bench or something larger than that. So anyone interested in joining this committee with me of capital projects, please let me know. Everyone should have my email. If you don't, etrimmer@missouriwestern.edu. Yeah, just come in contact with me and we'll talk. And also, if you know people that are interested in joining that aren't in SGA, people that want to stay involved in their campus without having to be a part of SGA, anyone is welcome to be on committees. You don't have to be a senator or an e-board member to participate. So, again, if you know anyone like that, just send them my way, and I'd be happy to get them signed up and everything like that. Otherwise, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Senator Trimmer? Okay. Are there any other announcements?
Happy birthday to school.
Yeah. We all made it. Round of applause. Any other announcements? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
All right. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
We need to cut off the live stream here.
No, keep live streaming.
Speaking of party, did you guys see the cute blue pit bull? Ooh, that thing was cute. I want to live it out there.